Breaking news right now, Atlanta's former chief financial officer indicted by the feds for fraud, theft from government, obstruction, and gun charges. In a statement, the U.S. attorney says Jim Beard allegedly abused his position as one of the most powerful executives in the city of Atlanta to commit federal crimes for his own gain, including stealing tens of thousands of dollars of the public's money, possessing machine guns that members of the public cannot have, and obstructing an IRS audit. Beard served roughly 6.5 years as Atlanta CFO under former Mayor Kasim Reed. He resigned when Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms took over back in 2018. We will have much more on the allegations against him and the ongoing corruption investigation into Atlanta City Hall tonight at 5 and 6.